Hey guys, and welcome to Material Mondays today. Today we're going to look at some of the main supplies that I have. Last week I was stitching the project and I'm still working on that, so I'll show you that in the next coming weeks to see where we're at. But I thought it would be useful to see some of the other supplies. I mean, I've collected these over years, so we'll go and some of these I've just brought recently, like these larger embroidery hoops. And I was thinking to myself, maybe I should have just brought one size up and got on with that, because I find these quite big, so unless, you know, to hold it, it can be quite finicky. So I think I've used this one once, but my go-to is this size, which is an 8-inch one. This is 12 and 14. Okay, so let us have a look in this kit. So something that you should always have is a cutting mat, and I work on my cutting mat for both my stitch projects and anything that I'm cutting, say, paper with, but I clean it every time. I mean, there is paint on there, but I always make sure I wipe it down before I use it, especially for the stitch projects. So we'll look here, we've got a scissors. I use this solely for cutting fabric. I've got two of them. The other one must have been next door when I was using it, but I don't use it for paper, as you know, you should keep them separate. I've got a rotary cutter I've had for years, but in this climate it can get, so it was getting a bit rusty on the side. I probably need to store this in the drawer or in a container. Anything metal is going to get rust over time. Anyway, so that's those two cutting supplies. In here I've got a selection of pins, so safety pins, but also pins to hold stuff together, and a few other random stuff that's metallic. This, can you see this? It's one of those threaders for a needle, but I don't use it very often. I don't use it at all really, but I have it just in case. In here I've got a selection of needles. This is just one of the places, and it looks like there's some pins as well. I do need to kind of have a sort through, and it looks like there's a few beads in here, so I would have at one point taken, you know, used this and then taken it with me and added a few things to use. This particular container is magnetized. It's got a magnet at the bottom, and that's why they're all staying in there, and anything it attaches to will stick to it as well, so that's a nice little thing. I'll link everything in my Amazon store, so you can see I've got a sewing supplies list there, so you can see some of the sewing supplies, and you can see some of the things that I've got that I use. But as I say, don't go out and buy everything all at once. As you need it, you know, think about whether you really do need it, and whether and what you're going to use it for. You don't want to start stocking up and having lots of stuff just hanging around. So I'm always buying needles, so I've got quite a good selection of variety of different sizes. I've got seed bead needles specifically that are in here, and there are some needles that I found, like you get the multi-pack, that they can have some needles that are really fine that double as seed bead needles as well. At one point I was doing a lot of work with seed beads, but I was also getting through the needles, as sometimes they break. But truth be told, I haven't had much problems. I haven't had any problems with these finer ones, but I misplaced them. Okay, so that's the needles. I've got several boxes of pins I inherited. So these ones are black pins, and then you've got the silver ones, here. So I inherited a couple of packs. I've got this that I brought. I thought I had to have it. You know, you go into the store and it's a thing for pins as well. But I had to have it because they had these little things at the end, but I don't actually use it, but I've kept it. Okay, I've got several, let me just go through this bit. These are zippers that I've taken from other things and I've just kept in here. I'm not going to show you everything, but I've just got a few bits and pieces that I experiment with. So this is like a fabric bandage that I was looking at this to see if it could have gone in a project, but I haven't actually used it in a project. I've got some chain here and a metal ring. They're in here for something. I think I'd got them off of something else and was going to use them, but haven't yet decided what project. Should I come in a bit for you? I haven't yet decided what project I'm going to use them for. Don't have to get too close. I've got tailor's chalk. That's half of one. And then under here, I went out and brought, this is to stop, this is for shoes, so it's to stop your shoes from your feet from sliding out of the shoe, so you put it at the back. So I'm gonna, for heel grips it's called. Anyway, so I've got chalkers thing, I've got several thimbles. I've always wanted to use a thimble, but when I use them, I was just looking, I thought I should have a few more. Yeah. Okay, so I've got 3 thimbles there. It's like finding one that's the right size. This is tracing paper that I thought you never know when you might need it. A couple of types of threads. This particular one is really strong. And I've had this, it's vintage. It's vintage. It was made in China. But it really is a strong thread. And then I've got this one. These are just some name tags that I've kept. Haven't really used. Okay, let's see what we've got. Oh, some little scissors. Again, I don't really use these. Let me see how they're still sharp. Maybe I can use it for fraying edges. We've got strong stretch cord. This is for jewellery design. So it should be in a different container, but I've kept it in here. It's as a just in case. Okay, so we've got several types of elastic, and over the years I've brought these and I've used some of them. I've got some really thick ones. I've got a varying sizes of elastic that I've, brought just in case. And used to use it quite a bit in the past, but not so much now. But it's always useful, depending on what kind of projects you're doing. I've got measuring tapes. So, inherited one from my dad. No, I think both of these are from my dad, and then I got this in something that I'd brought. This is some tape, which is this coloration that it's called foxing, and it's a mixture of mould and the metal. So I'm going to remove that. You get that with books as well, and fabric you'll find. Now, is this? I'm just curious to know what kind of tape this is. It's got a shiny side, so that might mean that it's got, you can it's you know, like some sort of tape. Anyway, that's that. Got another measuring tape there. This is elastic. But I haven't used it. Again, it's elastic. I think it's probably more jewellery type. And I've got some more kind of threads that I can use. And is that binding? I'm not sure. But I've just put a few you know, anything to do with stitching, and it looks like a bit of jewellery I've put in here. This is to cut the hem. And then we've got these things which are hook and bar for sewing. And then we've got these studs as well. It's just a key ring. It's for a perfume that I'd brought. I like the key ring. Okay, so that can go. And an old rubber band. Yeah. And just some of these as well, these hooks. And a couple of buttons. So that's all that's in there actually. But the main thing for me is the needles, because I do get through them. And I was thinking I need a bag to put my travel kit in, because at the moment it's just in a plastic bag, but it's not efficient for me. You know, plastic bag's getting old and it just looks a bit tatty, so I want to I'm not going to put these back in, so we'll just put that there. So I want to have a bag. So this is a little tin that my son, it came, it's like a kit with like games and cards and things like that, and then he was finished with it, so I thought, oh, this would be good to house these. So and this is my travel hoop, and this is the one that I mostly use, especially when I'm sort of like of an evening working. So we said we would find a spot for this. Okay, let's see how that fits. Yeah, so that's the kit. That's what I've got in here. Obviously there's other things that you can have in your main sewing kit, but this is all that I've needed, and some things I haven't used all of them, but I'm just thinking, yeah, of making some small bags to hold things, using up my fabric. So these elastics will come in handy, and they say you can never have enough needles. So this particular packet, these were self-threading needles. When I saw it I thought, oh, that's interesting. But most of these needle sets come with, you know, like the whole range of, you know, upholstery and carpet needles and things like that, but I've never used them for that. So I usually have a lot of these curved needles that I've not used. So I don't need to buy any more needles, just need to work through these. I broke, a needle broke because I was using it recently, so we've got replacements for it. Okay, yeah, so I hope that's been useful. As I said, I'll leave the link to some of these in my Amazon store in the description, and you can take a look at them. There's so many different varieties, that you can get, you know, you can get sets of these, which is good. Yeah, so I hope that's been useful today. Next week I will be showing you my stitched book. I did a project on working through stitches, so I'll let you see that, and that might encourage you to try some additional stitches as well. So take care for now and stay blessed.